Hey, welcome back to the Healthy Living Scottsdale podcast. I'm your host, Coach Zach. I am here with CJ Hunt, aka Silly C, as you all know him, and sweet as candy, Miss Brandy Mead.
What's up?
How are we doing today, guys?
Doing great.
It is the last day of March. Can you believe that? I mean, when people hear this, it will already be April, but last day of March for us today. Wild. Yeah, it's been, this year's just like flying by so far, right? Last March in 2021 was like our biggest month in new members ever that we ever did. This month has been pitiful. It's been awful. Nobody wants the fitness right now. Everybody's like traveling. They're putting it off. I'm like, people, swimsuit season is coming.
That's right. Once it warms up, they'll be signing up.
Yeah, as soon, I guess maybe give it like another week and then everybody's gonna be like, oh, it's sunny and warm and I don't feel comfortable getting into a swimsuit, so I'm gonna do something about that. It's usually the way that it goes, right? I think last year, like, everybody was kind of like peeking their heads out of their houses to see if the earth was still there, and so they're like, okay, I can go to the gym now. But anyway, I don't know why I brought that up, but I just talking. So let's talk about our client of the week. So we have husband-wife duo. We love those here at Pulse Fitness. So the clients of the week this week are Sam and Harold Prestenbach, who are awesome members. They actually used to own a gym and were trainers, and now they are here training with us, which I think is kind of cool. So just because like we're trainers and we have the knowledge doesn't mean that we don't need the push too and the accountability. So it's cool that they did that in like their former life and they recognize the value of it, even though they have the capability of going and training themselves. They come and they like crush it, which is super fun. So shout out to them, and we love having them here. We love the husband and wife duo because it makes everybody stay accountable and on track, and you have the same united front at home. You're choosing healthier meals, and they're health coaches now. That's what they do. So they totally get it. But shout out to them. So. Something that they probably deal with in their day-to-day life, which is our topic for today, is how the truth hurts or how honesty hurts, right? So lying by omission. So we have a member here. He's been here for a really long time, and he would come in for his training sessions and he would be like, Zach, I did really well this morning. All I had for breakfast was 2 eggs. And I'd be like, wow, that was really good. What'd you eat for lunch? Yeah, I just had like a sandwich. I'm like, okay, cool. And then his son happened to also train here, and his son would come in and be like, hey, did my dad tell you what he had for breakfast? And I'm like, yeah, he said he had 2 eggs. Oh, but he left out the part that he had like French toast and pancakes and, mimosa and all these things. And so he basically like just manipulated the data that he was giving to me. And I've seen that pattern so many times throughout the years of doing this and consulting with people and really like diving into their nutrition. I think it happens more with nutrition than anything else. People don't tend to like leave out the fact that they get like, 6 hours a night of sleep, or a lot of people will kind of like rat on themselves. But then you also have the person that, or I guess population of people that they manipulate the information that they give you. Right. So, we can't help you if we don't know, which was kind of like the spur of this topic today, is like, we need the information. So initially, like our initial roadmap when somebody comes in, his first 2 weeks of being a member here, we have them focus on working out. We're like, hey, get into a workout routine. Don't worry about anything else. just like start moving your body, get moving, feeling good. And during that process, during those first 2 weeks, oh, by the way, we're going to have you just track all your food, everything you eat and drink that's not water. We're not going to influence you anyway. It's judgment free. Like, we just want to see what your eating habits are. And then at the end of 2 weeks, your first 2 weeks, like, we'll meet with you, we'll sit down, we'll come up with a game plan as far as the nutrition goes. And then we'll start tracking it, and with the changes that we gave you, we'll start implementing little changes. It's always a shock factor for people when they actually have to put in the things that they are putting into their body and log it. And that's where a lot of the lying by omission happens, because they'll leave it out, and I'll bring it up later when I'm meeting with them and go like, okay, so like, you logged everything, and I can tell, like, you guys aren't fooling me. Like, I can tell, I know that that's not all you ate, or, you only had one slice of pizza. Don't give me that. Right. But I look at it, and then they're like, yeah, I guess I did have X, Y, and Z. Right. So, I guess, what have you guys heard from clients that you've worked with? Are they like, do they just give you all the information? Are they holding back? Are they kind of manipulating what information they give you? What do you see?
A couple of things I've seen both sides of it. One, the person who tells you everything. Yep. They'll admit to like the, really heavy brunch that they had and the mimosa that they had, and they feel guilty about it, but they record it all. And then there's the person who leaves things out. I was just having this discussion with a couple of our members the other day. Someone was doing really good about tracking their food, and they were, their macros looked great. And then at night before they went to bed, they had like a piece of chocolate, but they didn't want to mess up their macros. So just left it out and didn't record it, because if they didn't record it, then things looked really good, and they didn't want to mess that up.
Interesting. Okay, so it was like they were trying to hit that number.
Right.
It was about the numbers for them. Okay. What do you see, CJ?
A lot of times what I see is, people that either don't tell us what they're doing, try to avoid the questions, get the yeah, you get that one, and once you've done that, we pretty much know what you're saying isn't going to be 100% the truth. So it's going to be much better for you guys if you tell us what you're doing. If you tell us what you're doing, we can then help you. And you're not going to be then surprised. Like, well, this is what I'm logging. Why am I not getting results? Well, it's because the stuff that you're not logging is the problem. And you got to take care of that.
Yeah. And I just tell everybody, like, hey, the good, the bad, the ugly.
It's all a part of us.
It's all a part of it. And I think we were talking about it before we did this episode. We were talking about the psychology piece of it. And having to log your food when you see it, you have to admit to yourself that maybe you have a problem, or you don't have the willpower, that you're weak, right? Mm-hmm. It's kind of like there's this psychological factor of like, if I eat this and I put it in there, then I see it and I think like, I'm such a failure. Why did I do that? I couldn't resist it. Or there's guilt, right? They feel guilty about it. I guess those kind of go hand in hand. But the reason that we ask for it is not because we want you to feel guilty about it. It's not because we want to judge you. It's because we want to help you either find a healthy replacement that satisfies the same like emotional and psychological feeling that you're looking for when you're eating something that's not good for you. Or maybe it's one step better than that, and you're making the conscious decision of like, hey, you know what? My diet was really good today. I hit my macros. My reward for myself is going to be that piece of chocolate. Right. And that's okay. Like we want that, but we want to just maybe tweak like, hey, if you want that piece of chocolate at the end of the day or 3 days a week, whatever it is, there are some things that we could do and change just to build that in. So then you don't feel like, oh, I didn't hit my numbers. Like, no, we could build that into your meal plan. You hit your numbers and you got that reward. So you never want to lie by omission and leave those things out, because we're looking at it from a totally different perspective than the client is looking at it. Right. We're looking at the psychology is different. We're going, okay, show me everything, and then we'll figure out a solution that's going to work based off of where you're at and what you want. And so putting a reward in there is a really good option, I think.
Yeah.
And then kind of like backtracking on it, when people see the food that they're eating and they start to feel bad about that, we don't want that, right? And so there's different emotional and psychological reasons for why people will eat, right? So give you an example would be like a stress eater, somebody that gets stressed and then they want to eat, right? I was doing a consultation earlier this week, and I asked the lady, okay, so what's the problem with your diet? Like, what are your biggest challenges? She goes, I'm a stress eater. I said, okay, do you know why that happens? And she goes, well, I just know when I get stressed, like I want to eat. And I'm like, well, the reason that people stress eat is because when you start taking in food and filling up your stomach, you do more diaphragmatic breathing. So now all of a sudden you are subconsciously taking deeper breaths, which will relax you. We could have just done some deep breath work for 5 minutes and eliminated that trigger for you to start stress eating.
Right.
But they didn't know that. And she was like, I got my money's worth. I'll see you later. She's like, I'm good to go now. That's like the secret that I was looking for. But if somebody didn't share that information with me, I wouldn't know what the solution was. I couldn't find an answer for them. And most of the time that's the case, is it's like something that's very simple, but the client just don't know. They didn't have the answer. And it's like, we see thousands of people. Something along the way has worked for one person that will most likely we can pull from and go, okay, this is going to help you out. So I don't know what do you guys want to say about this topic? Because I feel like it really is an issue. We want our clients to share with us so we know everything, because the more information we have, the easier it is for us to help. That's really what we're trying to do, right?
I guess one thing I would say is, like, don't think of us as the principal. You're not going to get in trouble for telling us stuff.
You pay us.
we're people too. Like we do all the same stuff. We go out, we have fun. We just have gotten to the point where we have it built into our lifestyle. So we want to help you get to that point too. So we go out, we have fun. Don't think we don't know how to do those things too. We just don't talk about it as much while we're here. We want to help you out.
Yeah, it's funny because that brings up like sparks a thought about, like, if you've ever gone out to eat or out for drinks or something with your clients. We're sitting there and we're like, yeah, like, so I'm gonna get some shots, like bring those over, and our clients start feeling all guilty, like about, and they're there with us, and they're like, oh, I don't think that I really shouldn't be having this right now. And we're like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. I'm just trying to get my like jam on. Just order those shots up. Let's go. And the clients start, like, they get all like weird about it, and but we are guilt free when it comes to that. Like, we're not, and fitness is about, it's not just like, hey, you're looking good. Like, everybody craves freedom, right? Yeah. We want to free you from the bonds of your negative relationship with food or with your lifestyle or whatever it is. Like, we're going out and we're like, we don't do this all the time. This is sweet. We get to have a really good time. And the client's like, I do this all the time, and my coach is right there, and they're going to be upset with me and they're going to bring it up on Monday, and then they're going to punish me. It's like, no, we're not. We're just trying to have a good time too.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're not here to punish our members. We're here to help our members reach their goals, and like you were both saying, no one is perfect. Trainers here are not perfect. Fitness coaches are not perfect. We we'll go off our diet plans, off our meal plans. We'll, have fun, like CJ said. But it's about being realistic with your goals, setting those goals, and, really being open and honest with us so that we can help you achieve them. And I think, you brought up going out and having drinks. I think alcohol is another area where if we're talking about omission, that may come up with our members when, they're reporting out to us on what did they have during the week, and maybe they forgot to mention, the glass of wine they had or the drink that they had after their meal or with their meal.
That happens a lot, right? And I'll look at somebody's calories. And I'm like, man, you're barely taking in any calories whatsoever. Like, that's not good. You need to eat more. And then come to find out, it's like, oh, but you had 6 drinks or whatever. I'm like, that's a lot. It adds, all of a sudden, they just went from like 1,200 calories to 2,000 more calories. And I'm like, okay, now I kind of understand, right? So the alcohol is a good, plus if you're trying to log food or alcohol when you're actually drinking it, like the odds are you're not getting it that accurate, right? So, and I don't want, I go back to the roadmap, right? So like first 2 weeks you work out, you log your food. Next 2 weeks, now you're kind of getting into a workout routine, and I give you a couple things to work on and start to change. And maybe it's 3 things, and we're like, hey, fix these 3 things. Let's work on it, log it. And then we get to the end of those 2 weeks, and then we get together again, and I go, all right, how did we do with those changes that I gave you? And if the client didn't do well with the changes that I gave them, I take that upon myself and go, I didn't give you the right things to work on, right? It wasn't realistic for you for where you're at right now. It's not on the client. Right. It was on me as a coach, not knowing, okay, that was too much. I need to back off. I need to give them something that actually they're going to be able to stick to and get the win, and then continue to progress. And it's just like following that process and continuing to go through that. So I take it upon myself and think like, okay, I need to find solutions to help the clients. And that, the psychology, going back to the psychology, like sometimes clients want the reward, right? Okay, cool. We could build a reward in. Sometimes they feel guilty because they overate something. And it was like, earlier in the day, you overate because you didn't get enough nutrients in throughout the day and your body was starving. And so you get to dinner time and you're like, I got to eat everything. And it's not because you lack self-control. It's because something broke down earlier in the day in the structure in the system. Right. Let's go and fix that, right? Sometimes it's somebody misses a workout, or they miss a meal, or they eat something that they know they shouldn't have. And I shouldn't say it like that. They eat something that wasn't like on the meal plan or whatever. And then they go, screw it. What's the point? And then they snowball from there. Right. And it's like, they're saying, that's hopeless. I'm never going to hit my goal. I'm just going to enjoy this right now. Could be a combination of those things. It could just be a social thing. Like you're going out with friends and you're going to enjoy time out with them. I get it, right? There's all these different things, but if we don't know, then we can't create a plan around that. Right. And that's really what this is all about, right? Is us continuing to adapt and modify to your lifestyle. And the path to success is not a straight line, right? Our clients are never going to, well, I shouldn't say never, but very few are just like point A, point B, this is where I'm going, bam, I'm going to get there. Most of the time, there's kind of some peaks and some valleys. As long as we're continuing to move in the right direction, that's what's most important, right? We don't want you to hit your goal in 3 months and jeopardize your health to do it. We would much rather look at it and go, hey, you want to be healthy. Let's create a healthy lifestyle that you can stick to forever. Let's teach you the tools. Let's create a foundation. Let's continue to progress slowly so that a year from now, you're way beyond where you ever dreamed you could be. 5 years from now, it's not even something that you think about. It's like you're one of us as a coach and you have the same philosophy about these things and the same freedom that we feel about going out and, splurging once in a while. So that's really what it comes down to, guys. And we're here to help. It's not the principal's office. We're not judging you. You don't need to hide things from us, because if you do, then we can't help you. Right. So we're just asking you to be honest with us.
Exactly.
So how could you ever lie to Brandy? Look at her. She's just so sweet. She's like, I want to help so bad. I just want to help you. You guys got anything else for the people? That's it.
Oh.
That's it. So, guys, whether you're a member or you're not a member and this like resonates with you and you get it, come and talk to us. Like, we want to help. And so it's a really good opportunity there's a lot of people out there searching for solutions, and they want to know that they're going to find the right fit and they're not going to be judged, and they're going to have a support system and a team that's going to help them get there. And that's what we're about. So whether you're an existing member or you just don't know where to go or what to do, like, come and chat with us and we're happy to help you out. So that's it for this week's episode. We'll be back with you next week with more great stuff.
Be the king or queen of everything.
Thank you so much for listening to the Healthy Living Scottsdale podcast. Do you have a question that you'd like for us to answer live on the podcast? If so, all you need to do is head over to the Apple Podcast app on your iPhone and do 3 simple things. First, leave us a rating and review telling me what you think of the podcast. In that review, ask anything you want related to health, fitness, or nutrition. And if you want a shout out, leave us your Instagram handle or name. That's all you have to do. Then listen to hear your questions answered live on the next Q&A episode.